Okay, hello, welcome back. I'm currently recording this video at 12. It's about to be another day. Actually, it's 11:59 p.m. So it's about to be a new day. Anyways, I think that today's video is gonna be kind of personal for me because if you didn't read from the title, then I'm gonna talk about how it feels to be a teenager at the moment, right? Because I mean, a lot has happened, right? I like to consider myself a professional teenager because I've done this for a couple years now, and I'm sorry if I sound a little weird. My nose has been really stuffy today, so I don't know. I hope I'm not getting sick. You know, that would suck. But anyways, let's get into the video, right? So, sorry, I'm like dying over here. So basically, right, I think that when you're a teenager, you experience a lot of things for the first time, especially when you're younger. Either that or like this is probably going to be some of the times we experience the first thing, right? Like this is when you experience how to drive, right? This is when you experience possibly your first time, like your first crush, right? Possibly. I mean, it could come earlier, but it doesn't matter, right? You experience a lot of things in your teens, right, for the first time. And you know, I was looking at something the other day, and it said on how when you experience something for the first time, it lasts a lot longer than when you experience it again, right? And I think that's very true to an extent, right? Like some things like movies, if you watch it like 500 times, it's gonna take a really long time to get through, right? Because like you're kind of bored. But things like, for example, going on your first, like walking for the first time. Let's just take that to example. It's gonna take a long time your first time, right? Number one, you don't know how to walk. And number two, it's like, oh my gosh, I could move on my own, right? But that doesn't have to do with teens, right? So it's like, why am I saying this? Well, I'm saying this because things like making your first payment or like getting, like you get more responsibilities when you're older, right? For example, like you get your own money. Okay, and I really hope that, why can't I do this? I really hope that little kids don't have their own money, right? Because they're financially irresponsible, in my opinion. I mean, you might not be, but that's just my opinion. And so basically, right, when you make your first payment, the first time, at least for me, right, I'm not a social person at all, okay? But I remember it because I went to go to one of the pharmacy stores, right? Because my mom wanted to check if it works. And so when we went there, I remember I went up to the counter, no one was there. So I was like, oh, looks like we gotta go home. She's like, nope, no, you got this, right? And so I was like, okay, I got this, right? And what's the worst that could happen? It didn't work because for some reason my card wasn't like registered. So I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I just want to buy the gum, right? I want to buy the gum and be out of here. I know I have enough money, please, right? And then I learned, right, that something was wrong with my card at the day. So the next time I went, I remember this because this was my first successful time buying something. I bought a pack of gum, right? A mint pack of gum because I was like, ooh, I want gum. And then I also bought some candy because I'm a child inside and I love candy. Okay, don't judge me. Also, I'm sorry, I'm like really dying, but I have to post today, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, no. So after it went through, I was like, oh my gosh, right? This is like actually insane. I just bought something with my own money, okay? Because this was my own money, right? I actually earned this money myself, not with the job, right? Sorry if that offends anyone if I said that, but like I just get money for like events like holidays, right? So I was like, okay, this is insane, right? And it was a surreal experience to me. But now every time I go buy something, it's like, oh, I should buy it, right? It's like it's nothing special. You kind of take away the first time experience of it, and it kind of gets rid of some of that like magical feeling that you had, right? Or let's just take into example going into high school, right? Now this is huge because I remember as a little kid, we had this thing at our school, right, where the kids from the elementary school would go to the Sorry if that cut out. I had an ad on my music, but yeah. So the first like massive experience that I've like another experience I had was going to high school, right? And this was huge because when you're a little kid, right? Back in the elementary schools, they had this day where you could go up to the high school, right? And for that day, you'd get a tour from the high schoolers, right? And these guys were big in my eyes, right? Because I was like a puny, small little kid. And so I remember it because we went to these classrooms, right? They showed us around, they showed us everything, right? And then I felt, wow, this place is absolutely huge, right? And then fast forward to now, it's like, oh, right? It's just like this place is not big enough. Like, I basically know all the ins and outs. Like, I've literally explored every place in there because of something, but that's a story for a different time. But anyways, so now when I'm looking back on it, because eventually came that day where I was one of the people who actually helped out. And I was like, wow, I want to give them an experience that they probably won't forget, right? So when I'm touring them, I definitely did not go through everything. Like, I skipped so many things, but I just hope that it stays with some of the little kids, because that is one of the key memories I remember from when I was a little kid. Now that I'm growing up, looking back on it, which is crazy to say that I'm looking back on things with being the age I am, it's like, wow, like that was really special. And I feel like you take things like that for granted, right? You don't realize it until you're older. Just how grateful you guys should be for the things that you have right now, right? And if you're older than me, right? I definitely think that if you're older than me, please let me know if anything like that happened to you, and it's not just me, so I don't seem crazy. I just had on the same thing. But I feel like when I get older, my perspectives are gonna change, right? My mindset is gonna shift toward what I need at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I just want to cherish it, because you're in your teens, right? When is the last? This is probably gonna be the last time I'm ever saying that I'm the age I am, right? I'm not gonna say it just yet. I'll wait for a little later because I don't feel like it. Anyways, I definitely think that when experiencing things for the first time, you don't realize just how special it is. Okay. Because you don't even realize anything, even if it is special. Like, you don't realize just how amazing it is, right? To like live this life and to be a teen, right? I'm actually so happy, because when you're younger, you're just trying to get older, right? That's all you do in life. You just say, oh, I want to be this age to do this, right? But I mean, you have to cherish it, right? You have to live in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be focused on what you're gonna do when you're 21. Like, oh, I want to be 21 so I can drink. No, like, I want to be the age I am because I'm never getting this back, right? I'm never gonna live another day as this age. I'm never gonna live another second as this age, right? Because each second that goes by, I get 1 second older. And when you finally understand that, you finally understand like what it means to live, right? I'm not saying that like in like a religious way. I'm saying that in the way that you realize that if you live in the moment, then you experience things a lot more than if you're caught up on stuff. Like, for example, right? I don't have an example. Sorry about that. But you guys get what I'm trying to say, right? I don't go with the script, so I try and do what I think in the moment, right? And I feel like that's very important, because when I get older and when I look back on these videos, I'm gonna say, holy cow, this guy's so cringy, right? But oh my gosh, and this guy sucks at parkour. But I'm also gonna say to myself, you know what? Thank you for recording this, right? Thank you for letting me look back into what I thought as a little kid, because that is the biggest thing that people take for granted, right? Your thoughts. Your thoughts are only to you, right? And 99% of the time, you're not going to remember what you were thinking during a certain moment. And by me recording this and by me posting these videos, right, and keeping a public record of them that I can look back on, I'm honestly really grateful for that, because I could relive this moment, right? Your thoughts show a lot more than just what a film can, right? What just like a click of the phone, like a picture, right? Your thoughts actually like dive into what you're thinking, right? And 90% of the time, if you know what you were thinking, you know what was happening, right? Like I would know that I am completely sleep deprived at 12 a.m. Actually, never mind. Wait, it's 11:50. I read the time wrong, but you get the point, right? So oh my goodness, I'm like 9, but I have military time on, so I couldn't. I don't have an excuse for that. Anyways, you know, I am a teen, right? And I am still in high school. I have responsibilities, and things are boring, right? Like school. School is so boring, okay? And living in the moment in school, right? It's like, well, what am I gonna do now, right? And that is a lesson that I'm not gonna understand yet, right? Because a bunch of older people will say, oh my gosh, I would do anything just to be in school again, right? And I'm like, why, right? And I feel like I'll learn when I'm older why that is, and when I do, I'll post a video on it. But until then, I'm still gonna live the way I do, right? I'm still gonna be like, oh, you know, I just don't like school, blah 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 blah. But I feel like if I live like that, I live with regrets. So with the new year starting, right? New year, new me. I know a bunch of people say. I'm gonna try and live every moment just a little more. How do I get up? Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty huge. This video is really short, but I think I have something that I want to say. What is this level? Okay. Anyways, another thing, right? Relationships. Okay. I'm not gonna get too deep into this because I have a video that I was thinking about. Not that was planned, but I was thinking about it. Sorry, we had another ad, but that video would give a little more insight toward my actual personal relationships, which I'm not gonna say have been good. I'm not gonna say have been bad, right? They've been interesting. But through it all, I've lived it. I've lived through it, right? And I've experienced it, and I've learned, right? I've learned good, I've learned bad, right? I've learned what to do, I've learned what not to do. And when you're a teen, you kind of have to understand that if you mess up, right? If you mess up just once, right? That could be it. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain things you can do at this time that will ruin your life forever, right? And that's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's like, you know, puff and like take popping pills, right? Like, don't do that, of course, right? Because that's how you ruin your life, right? And your life is so precious. Like, why do you want to ruin it? Just like how I ruined this run. And so, what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. You don't want to ruin your life because, oh yeah, you really don't want to ruin it, right? Because there's so many things that you can do wrong. And I'm not saying be like a goody two-shoes and don't do anything. Like, party, you know, this is like, I think the best time to party is in like your 20s though, or like late teens when you're in college. But I mean, high school parties, they're good. Just don't do anything stupid, guys. Come on. Or girls. I don't know. I don't think girls watch my videos, so I think it's just guys. But don't do anything stupid. I'm telling you, you're not gonna be able to undo some things, right? Like, some things are permanent, and I feel like that some people learn that lesson too late, right? Because I had a friend, right, who was 13, right, I'm pretty sure high school. I'm not sure if that's the right age for high school. I don't know, but they were 14, 13, right? And one day, they decided to go in the school bathroom and, you know, go with the senior, right? I'm not gonna explain any of this because it's weird, but ever since that day, right, they can't, I wouldn't say a friend, but a person I know, right, a fellow friend. Long story, I'm not gonna get into that right now, but they can't get that back, right? They can never get that back, right? That's forever gone, right? And they did it because they were being stupid, they were being dumb, right? They're young. I know when you're young you want to experience a lot of things, but you do have to realize that this is your life, right? It's permanent. You physically can't rewind time as of right now, and I don't think you ever will be, right? And I think that's what makes it precious, because if you could rewind time, it's like, oh, I could just fix everything that I've done wrong. And I feel like, yes, that is a good thing, but on the other hand, it's not, because like you have to appreciate what you have in life. And I feel like the best time to do it is now, right? When you're still a teen, like go outside, go for a walk, go run, right? Run till you can't, you know. Like I feel like that's one of like the best things you can do right now. Okay, while you still can, have fun, be active, right? I don't want to see people like curdled up all day, right? Just doing nothing, even though that's what I do sometimes, right? I mean, it's fun to do that. That's not fun. It's okay to do that some days, right? And it might be fun to you, but I feel like the more active you are, the better off you will be, because you know, as children, right? We're just learned walk, talk, like that's it, right? Walk, talk, and that's basically it, right? Crawl, say mama, say dada, right? I sound stupid if someone walked in my room. Anyway, so that you get the idea, right? That's basically all you're doing. And so with that, if you just stick to that, right? Walk, talk, then your life's gonna be pretty boring, right? But when you learn to run, when you learn to explore, you always find new things. And when you learn to talk, and when you learn to communicate with others, you learn to make friends, right? And you kind of just base your experiences off what you already know, right? So every time you do something, like, oh, you learn, right? Like, for example, when you're a little kid, you learn hi, bye, how to spell. Then you go to school, right? You learn how to I don't know what you learn in school anymore. You learn the alphabet, you learn English, you learn how to communicate with others, and with that you make friends, right? With those friends, you go outside, you play sports, you run, you walk, you be active, right? And then you continue on school, you continue learning, then you become a teenager, going to the high school, you know, which is when you have to learn about respect, right? And respect is a huge thing, which I'll talk about in a different video, which I know I'll make because I'm sure it'll come back up in my mind one of these times. And when you learn to respect, you learn to love, right? And when you learn to love, you learn a very important lesson in your life. And the psychologist, like I was saying before the ad rudely interrupted me, you could say things like, oh yeah, you learn how to walk, you learn how to talk. But you can do it in different orders, of course, because there are certain things that some people have and some people don't have, right? That's okay. But oh my gosh, I just saw it all fall. But I feel like the main takeaway here is, if you're in your teens and you're watching this, just live your life, right? Be happy. Don't do anything stupid, because 99% of the time you're gonna end up regretting it, right? And living life with regrets is never a life that you want to live, because trust me, I've been there. I know what it feels to regret something, because I've had personal experiences. But that's besides the point. The main point is, right, if you're gonna take anything away from this, like I said, every single video, the main takeaway from this should be that life is precious. And the reason why I'm saying in your teens is because I'm a teen and I know how it feels. If I were an adult, I would say that, but I like to go off experience, right? I don't like to give people like wrong information. I like to go off what my perspective of the world is and hopefully make a change, right? So, you know, you can't relive any of this, right? And so I think it's very important to just be happy sometimes in life, even when happiness is the last thing you want to think of. I think that it's important to remember that you can't live this again, so why don't you live every life, every moment of your life to the fullest, right? that's a very important lesson that some people need to understand. And so, with me dying, I think I'm gonna end the video there. And goodbye.